Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. On today's show, Taylor Hay from the St. Louis Slam will join us in studio to discuss women's football in St. Louis. And Inside Sports reporter Melanie Steen will check in from the Wohl Rec Center on North Kings Highway to showcase their sports programs. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Welcome to the show. We'll start things off today with a look at a couple of big events coming to the Lou. On Thursday, September 14th, the 2023 St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame Enshrinement Dinner will take place at the Downtown Missouri Athletic Club. This year's inductees include Demetrius Johnson, NHL Hall of Famer Chris Pronger, and Frank Viverito from the St. Louis Sports Commission. The reception begins at 5 p.m., dinner is at 6, and the program begins at 7. For a full list of inductees and for more information, go to www.stlhof.com or you can call Tim Moore at 618-558-4861. On Saturday, September 23rd, it's Tiger Fest at the Dome in downtown St. Louis, where the Missouri Tigers will host the Memphis Tigers in exciting Division I football. Tickets are available at all the regular outlets and from both universities. Well, our special guest today is a longtime veteran of women's football here in St. Louis and is a captain for the St. Louis Slam. At this time, we welcome Taylor Hay to Inside Sports. Taylor, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Gosh, I'm sitting here and thinking, I know we've had women's football here in St. Louis for a while, but it's going on like a decade and a half or so right now, isn't it?
Yeah, this was year 20, actually.
Year 20?
Year 20 for St. Louis Slam. Yep.
You know, it's like... I think about it from time to time, but it's like, I don't know if everybody in St. Louis knows we have women's football. And this league has come a long way now. Now, you've been involved for quite some while yourself, haven't you?
Yes, 14 years. So a long time. I joined the team after they won the first WFA championship in 2009. 2009.
Mm-hmm. So this team has had a lot of success. From what I'm reading and just seeing press bulletins and posts over the years, you've won quite a few titles in this last 10, 15 years, haven't you?
Yes, we have 4 national titles. So, and then we did make it to the championship this year. We did not win, but we plan on making another run in 2024.
You know, you made it all the way to the championship, and from what I understand, there's different tiers in women's football. Now, if you want to take a step back, when you started playing, like in the beginning, it was a different league, and it's kind of evolved, hasn't it? Or you've changed leagues?
So same league. There's a few leagues for women's football in our country, but we are the WFA since 2009. Prior to that, the Slam was involved in another league, but that league folded and they became the WFA in 2009. And we won the first ever national championship. So a couple years back, 2016, they created tiers because they were seeing the same teams make it to the championship, but we have like 64 teams in our league. So you have that many teams and you're only seeing 2 to the championship. They just wanted more exposure. So they created a pro division, Division II, Division III, and then like a developmental. Those are for people who don't have a lot of players on their team. They're just starting to build, need more exposure, but they don't play that many games. And then obviously COVID did alter a few things. We were playing 8 games this season. Now we play 6.
Okay.
So we adjusted to 6, and we're staying with 6. It works out. Gives the rookies less playing time, I guess, if we don't have 8 games, because now they only get 6. But it is better on our bodies. So recovery, and then financially, obviously, we pay to play. So the 6 games did help us.
So I guess it's safe to say that you play for the love of playing football, but you weren't always a football player. I mean, you came from a background in some other sports, didn't you?
Yes. So I played soccer since I was 4 years old, paid for college, essentially. My first love is what I call it. And I did found football because I played on a semi-pro soccer team here in St. Louis and it folded for a year. So I contacted the football coach and I said, well, do you still need a kicker? Because I was, I'm not afraid of contact, obviously, but I wasn't sure. And he's like, yeah, actually we do. So after the first game, after wearing all the equipment and it was hot, and I was like, oh no, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do this. So I asked if I could participate in other positions, and I just learned the offense in about a couple weeks, so I could run the ball, and then the rest is history.
Now, you played soccer at Mizzou, and I know soccer, I mean, you're running around constantly, and soccer players are in great physical shape.
Right.
I mean, that's got to be a great base, playing soccer. A lot of people play soccer because they don't want to get hurt, and or their parents won't let them play football, so they play soccer. But the endurance and things that you've achieved as a soccer player probably helped you kind of segueing into football.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know if you know Odell Beckham Jr.
Of course.
Yeah, so he played soccer first. And you can tell by like his agility. He's swift with a lot of things. And I think when kids start off in soccer and just in general, it's some foundation of agility and coordination. So I did ask a few times, like, what sports, because obviously we're women from all walks of life. Some have sports backgrounds. And I'm like, which sport translates the best to women's football? And they're like, soccer, like you said, because we're used to running. It's pretty physical. I mean, I played defense, so I was in a more physical position. So they always say soccer translates the best, obviously, because you're in shape, like you said. So when I first joined, and when we had fitness at practice, everyone complained. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Because soccer, we're used to just, like I said, running the entire time.
That's
so
what you do, yeah.
I was okay with it. So it did translate well for me.
Now, did you remain the kicker as well, or did you give that up?
I do share it with a co-partner that I grew up with, actually playing soccer with, Kaylee Knightsling. She's also from Edwardsville. She kicks, so she does. I do extra points, and then she does field goals and kickoff.
And what position do you play?
I'm a running back.
You're a running back. I think I saw you on ESPN2
probably
a couple of weeks ago, running the ball. It was pretty cool.
It was.
We'll get to that in a little bit. In women's football in the WFA, it seems like there's all ages. I mean, it's gapping 3 decades at least.
Oh, for sure. We actually have a mother-daughter duo on our team. One is in her 50s. I won't give her exact date. Actually, today's her birthday, so happy birthday to her. So she's in her 50s, and her daughter is 30, and they've both been playing for a decent amount of time. And it's pretty cool. One's offensive line, and one's an outside linebacker. So, but we do take 18 to up, where, I mean, if you're brave enough at 50 and you can compete, I mean, we won't turn it away. So it is a broad range.
And I guess, your pads and the equipment that you wear, that's very important for the protection. Is there any alterations you need as women, to fit properly, and maybe shoulder pads and, some of the pants and equipment that you wear? Or do you wear the same stuff the guys wear? We
do wear the same stuff as the guys wear. We have found that we prefer the ones that obviously cover, like, the breast pads.
Yeah.
There was a company that for maybe a year created shoulder pads that more were cupped around for us, but they just kind of disappeared. But we were sponsored by Zenith, and we are no longer, I guess, in partnership, but they do have equipment that covers down here, and we do prefer that, obviously. Helmet-wise, same as the men, boys. Pants, which can be a struggle sometimes, but also the same. I mean, everything's designed for men, but we make it work, so.
It was pretty ferocious out there sometimes, I bet.
Yeah.
Now, when you're running the ball and you see some of these big linemen and defense, linebackers and things, I mean, what are you thinking out there when you're running the ball? Because you're a little shorter, but running backs, that's an advantage, for like the Barry Sanders.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he's a little shorter, and, he was low to the ground so you can see through the holes and things.
For sure. When I first saw them play before I participated, I was in high school, and I watched, and I was like, oh, no, that's not for me. I was only about 118 pounds, so also, small. And then when I graduated college and I wanted to play, I was like, well, I'm not afraid of contact. And like you said, it is an advantage. But lowering my shoulder, I'm expecting the hit, so I'm prepared for it. Our coaches do prepare us for that. So we don't just show up to the first game and haven't hit each other. I will say I've probably taken harder hits from my own teammates than I have from people on other teams. That's not a discredit to anybody else. It's just that we do put in work at practice before we get to the game. So,
you do scrimmages and things like that.
Oh, for sure. Now, if a hole opens up and there's a big lineman, I'm going to wait for my big lineman to get there and then probably find it or outrun them or go around, but not always through.
So where do you play your home games?
We play at St. Mary's High School.
Okay.
Yes, so it is just like resources. It is hard to find fields for us during the season. A lot of the all-girl schools are willing to give up the fields, but as you know, they don't have football teams, so then there's no football field. So we do have to lean on our all-boys schools to allow us to use their resources. Our head coach is a coach at Ladue High School, so we do use that for practice. They have been so generous, to allow us to use their facilities for that.
What's his name?
Coach Quincy Davis.
Okay,
yep,
Quincy Davis.
Yes, and so he's been at Ladue. That's his alma mater, so he gives back that way. But they allow us to practice there, and then St. Mary's allows us to do our home games there. Awesome.
Well, let's take a quick break, but stay with us, folks, as our conversation with Taylor Hay will continue when we return.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
And welcome back to the show. Our special guest today is Taylor Hay from the St. Louis Slam football team. And Taylor, let's pick it up where we left off. Quincy Davis is the head coach. He's from Ladue, and you play your home games at St. Mary's. St. Mary's is having, in recent years, some great success with their men's football team, their boys football team. And gosh, it's almost sad they were talking about like taking some of these schools away. That would be terrible, but it must be good to play at a good accommodation like St. Mary's.
Oh, for sure. They've worked with us for a few years, and obviously they have St. Louis natives that are, football coaches and athletic directors, and so we appreciate them allowing us to be able to use their facilities. And I think they did devise some sort of plan to be able to keep the school open. So obviously that benefits us, but also, like you said, it would be sad if they have to keep, closing down these schools, especially a school that was long-standing in the South Side for boys.
So the league is gaining popularity each year. I admit, and I'm proud to, that I watched your game, the championship game this year. It was on ESPN2.
It was.
Channel 36. I'm sitting there, and there's our St. Louis women's football team on ESPN2. And from what I understand, they had very good ratings, and there's like hundreds of thousands of people got to see that game. We came out on the losing end of the championship game, but you won your conference side.
We did.
Being on ESPN2 and having that exposure, how important is that for the future growth of the league?
I don't think we got to digest it until afterwards. It's a game for us, and we were there for specific reasons. But afterwards, just sitting there thinking, number one, I have a daughter. She's 5, so she was able to watch it. And, it doesn't really matter to her if it's ESPN2 or a live stream. But just watching all the people, like you watched it, and then we got the ratings back, and more ratings watching us than other women's sports in the past, like championship games. So that's like really cool. But for our league, it's important because we do pay to play. So hopefully it brings in a lot more partnerships for people all over the country. And women's sports are dominating right now. And we kind of segued into the World Cup. So I just feel like the whole summer was, built for us to just be successful on a platform for other people to see. So
yeah, so there are some benefits to corporate sponsorships on both sides. I mean, they can help underwrite some of your costs, and they get a break too, don't they? If a corporation wants to come in and help out with the Women's Football League, they have benefits as well.
Yes, we are 501c3. We actually worked really hard to make sure that we could get that status so that we would be able to, because before in the past we were just asking for money, and there's not necessarily anything we could do to give back to that. So now that we are that 501c3 status, we are able to give, tax deductions and write-offs and things like that. And then part of that is also giving back to the community. So participating in camps, making appearances at schools, and working with young girls or boys related to football.
Let's talk some more about the coaches. I know that they give a lot of their time, and a lot of them, the head coaches from Ladue, and then some of the other ones coach area high schools as well. You want to give any shout outs to the coaches, and we'll talk about some players.
Yeah, so Coach Gamble, he is our running back coach. He also coached at Ladue. He gives his time, and then he works at Boeing, so that takes a lot of his time, but he still dedicates a lot of time to us. Coach James, he gave a lot of time to Rittner, and he has 8 daughters, so he also splits his time with his children and us. And then Coach Mert Davis, she actually played for 16 years on the Slam. She was part of the original 2003 team. So she gave back now by coaching. So we really appreciate it because they all have significant others and kids and things like that. So they split that time with us, with them. So
is the ball smaller than like an NFL ball? Because if you go to high school, it's one size.
Yeah.
College is a different size, and the NFL is a different size.
It is the JFL size. It's considered youth.
Okay.
So that's the size we use. That another league in our country did create a women's size football. They were able to get a manufacturer to do so. I have not put my hands on it, so I don't know what that looks like. But probably something similar. It was specifically designed for women. But right now we use a youth JFL
Let's
ball.
talk about some of your players.
Okay.
The quarterback seemed like she had a pretty good arm. I mean, I'm looking back. There she is, dropping back to pass, looking around and zinging it across the middle.
Yes.
And I know she's had some great success this year.
She was actually the offensive MVP for our entire league this year.
What was her name?
Jamie Gall. So
Jamie
she
Gall.
actually is from St. Louis. Ursuline, I think, is her high school.
Okay.
She went to all-girls school. She's from here, went to Webster. I mean, she's St. Louis native, and she's been playing for about 7 years. So all as a quarterback, but finally all the work she's been putting in, paid off. And so also our head coach, Quincy, he did get Coach of the Year as well for our league. So we walked away with something, from the championship.
Absolutely. And who are some of the other top players on the team?
We have a few. So Carrie McMahon, she went to SLU. She's actually from Wisconsin, but she played basketball here at SLU, and she plays flag locally. That's actually how we recruited her. I think she walked away with 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
And then we have Jada Humphrey. She came from Kansas City. I think she walked away with 18 touchdowns and MVP of the game. On the defensive side, we have a lot of veterans who are also moms, so I think that's kind of cool. Our safety, Kaylee, Knightsling, the one from Edwardsville, she just had a baby 9 months ago, and she also played. And then, Kiana Smith, she's been playing for 13 years. We have a few rookies as well. So, I mean, we have a lot of veterans, but we sprinkle in rookies here and there that just really makes it a well-oiled machine.
Oh, how about that? And I understand that a few ladies that have come from the WFA have made their way onto NFL teams, more than one.
Oh yes, so like coaching, yeah. There are plenty. They've created a program for internships, and a lot of them happen to be women. Jen Welter was the first. She did it with Bruce Aarons, and he, he kind of paved that way. I really like him as a coach in general, but yeah, he opened the doors for that. So we also have Callie Bronson, who's with the Cleveland Browns, and she's been there for quite some time. So yeah, I think there's 9 to 10 that have infiltrated into the coaching positions, and it's really awesome.
That's got to be encouraging to see.
Oh, it's so encouraging. I mean, even watching, actually I committed to coaching a middle school boys football team with one of my old coaches, and just watching them look at me understanding football and how amazed they are. And I'm like, wow, this is literally just a pioneer position right now, just that they're realizing that girls, to them, women understand sports. So to have that respect on that high of a level is pretty cool.
Now, you've played for 14 years already.
Steps into it,
and
launches
players
it,
are playing from 18 up into
almost
their
made a
50s.
good catch over.
So you're just in the middle of your career.
Yeah.
You may have another 14 years out there before you know it. At what point would you consider maybe joining the league or being a coach or joining a front office of a team like that? Do you have any aspirations of that, or is your life outside of football busy enough to where you wouldn't want to pursue that?
Well, I would love to pursue that. I have a 5-year-old now, and she's here. And also, I'm really close with my family, so it's nothing I really want to leave St. Louis to do. I would entertain entertaining giving back to the Slam. So obviously, as you know, it's hard to find players to play, but also coaches to coach because it's all volunteer. So once I'm done, I will just add to the coaching staff for the Slam or game day operations, something along that nature.
So you're going to stay involved, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got that little drive inside you, I can tell.
Yep.
It's like, you know, you stop playing soccer and there's like a void.
Yes, there is. There is.
So what can we do as a whole in our community to grow women's football?
I would say, number one, support and provide opportunities like this. I know Christina, I know you met her. She does all of our marketing stuff and fundraising, but she also is the marketer for marketing team for the Battlehawks. And so they shared one thing after the postseason, and there was probably 200 comments like, I didn't even know this existed. So it's that one post allowed 200 people, new people, to know that we existed. So things like that, I think just a share, a click. I mean, it's 2023. That's kind of how businesses are getting people to know about their business. And I would say if you know someone that's interested, also encourage them to come try out, whether it's, you know, to participate on the team or to be game day operations or to coach. And then obviously the monetary value is that if you can't do any of those things, but you would like to give back somehow, you could contact our, you know, get on our website and donate. You can pick a player to donate, or you can just donate for the season.
What is your website?
It is STLslam.com.
Right.
I know you can Google it. We did upgrade and change it to a different platform in the past year.
So we have a women's basketball team in St. Louis Surge, and you're friends with the owner, who's now the vice president of the Dallas Mavericks, Kalia Collier.
I am so happy.
How proud of you of being a teammate of hers or a friend of hers at Mobath.
I was super happy for her. Well, especially when she started the Surge, I was like super happy for her for that. I mean, you know Kalia, so she is a go-getter. She doesn't stop, and she breaks all the glass ceilings. I don't even know if she believes in them, but as a brown woman in America, I think that's really awesome, everything that she's doing. When I saw that she got that opportunity, even with St. Louis City, when she had the opportunity, I was so happy for her. She belongs where she's at, and I'm sure she will get further than where she is now.
It's really neat seeing everybody collaborating and working together in St. Louis to make it a better sports town than it already is.
It is, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Taylor, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Right now, we're going to send it over to Melanie Steen over at the Wall Center in North St. Louis. Melanie, take it away.
Thanks, Todd. Today we are at Wool Recreation Center. It is one of several recreation centers that spread out around the St. Louis metro. And today we are finding out about some fun things going on this fall. We are also introducing you to the newest manager at St. Louis Parks and Rec.
School is back in session, which means it is time to look ahead to after school and weekend programs for children and teens.
But we're also excited about the programs that we'll be having this fall. All of our centers will be open from 4:30 to 8 p.m. providing services for the community as well as our youth and teens. So we will still have our basketball season is getting ready to start. Football just kicked off. Soccer has started. We're finishing up t-ball and baseball. And we're looking forward to some new programs that we have coming in.
Callian says that one of the best things about St. Louis Parks and Rec is the variety of programs. They include students to seniors and everyone in between.
Where kids can come in and learn to cook, both boys and girls. We have our robotics that we had this summer. We're trying to get that incorporated again. We have our gaming systems that we're looking to do.
Some unexpected programs this year include lacrosse, martial arts, Teens of Tomorrow, and swim lessons. And that's just for starters.
Where kids can come in and learn to cook, both boys and girls. And we're also looking for kids, our other programs that we offer are arts and crafts, singing, dancing, learning how to play instruments.
While the department is gearing up for new and returning programs, it only highlights the need to recruit caring and compassionate staff that are willing to show up for the kids time and time again.
Our centers are here for the kids, the community. Our programs are free, so it allows us to reach more people that are in need and don't have the resources. So it would be great to have staff that would come in and embrace that as well and be able to continue to give back.
A quick check on the city's website shows both full and part-time positions available with St. Louis Parks and Rec.
It's a fun job to do. So yeah, just encouraging people to come and apply for positions.
Kellyanne joined the department just over 2 years ago during the tail end of the pandemic.
This is my first experience with the city, and so far it's been very well. I'm enjoying it.
Prior to joining the department, Kellyanne and her husband volunteered for Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club.
And I volunteered there for over close to 15 years. And there I coached cheerleading, I did a little gymnastics, I did coach softball a couple of times. So I did a little bit of everything.
Eventually, she and her husband would form their own football league for kids, the St. Louis Devil Dogs.
So we ventured out so that we could keep our kids together, and we joined Pop Warner for a year or two, and then when doing that, we created our own team, and we did that all the way up until the pandemic. So once the pandemic hit, that was a change for everybody.
All those years spent volunteering for Matthews Dickey and running her own youth football league has more than prepared Kellyanne for her current role. In fact, working with our youth is a passion of hers.
And I see the struggles that they're having to deal with some of the things that are around in the communities, and I think they feel that it's not attainable. Things are not attainable. So I want to be that person that comes in and show them that hard work, dedication, anything is attainable. It's not just about looking at something where, sports is my only way out. No, I think it's education. I think it's finding a trade, finding something that you're passionate about and just giving it all.
To find out about hours of operation, programs that are available, or to locate the rec center that's closest to you, just visit the city's website. It's stlouis-mo.gov. Todd, back to you.
Thanks, Melanie. Great job. And that'll do it for our show today. We'd especially like to thank our studio guest, Taylor Hay, and the Wall Center for making this show possible. We'd like to thank you for watching Inside Sports on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.